driver of the presidential vehicle you see here was keeping the car to the left-hand side of the street to get the president, who was sitting in the right rear, keep him away from the crowd. And when that happened, I'd get up on the back of the car, because by keeping the car to the left-hand side of the street, put Mrs. Kennedy right up next to the crowd. So I would get in this position to be as close to her as I could. I knew he didn't like for us to be there. He had made that pretty clear the previous Monday in Tampa, Florida. But I also knew that it was my job, and I could explain it to him if I needed to later. We continued on down Main Street in Dallas. I got on and off the car about 4 or 5 times. We got to the end of Main Street, turned right on Houston, and then had a very short left turn onto Elm Street. We were going right past the Texas School Book Depository. And this is the follow-up car, Secret Service agents and 2 of Presidential Kennedy's staff. And this is the presidential vehicle. There's about a 3 to 5 foot gap between the 2 cars. We were running about 12 miles per hour on a normal basis. As we were proceeded down Elm Street, I was scanning to my left where there was a grassy area, and to straight ahead where there was a triple underpass. And all of a sudden I heard an explosive noise over my right shoulder. At first I thought it was a firecracker. And so I started to turn toward the noise. What you'll see here, I only got as far as looking at the back of the presidential vehicle, because I saw what happened. I saw the president all of a sudden grab at his throat like this, and he started to fall over to his left. He was wearing a back brace. He couldn't move forward, so he fell to his left. I realized then it was a gunshot. So I jumped from my position that you'd seen me on the follow-up car, running toward the presidential vehicle with the intent of getting up on top of the back of it to form a shield there to protect both President and Mrs. Kennedy. When I jumped off, there was a motorcycle officer right next to me, and then the sound of the follow-up car. So later on, the agents told me there was a second shot. I never even heard it because of the noise of those engines. But just as I approached the presidential vehicle, there was a third shot. By that time, the president had fallen farther to his left a little bit. His head was down, kind of like this. And so the shot hit him right back in here, and it exploded right on this side of the head, just like an eruption. Blood, brain matter, bone fragments, all over the back of the car, all over me, all over Mrs. Kennedy. You'll see in this short film here, this is called the next film, there I am running to get up on top of the car. Now Mrs. Kennedy came up in the trunk just after the third shot, after I was just reaching in the car. She was trying to grasp some of that material that came out of the president's head. She didn't even know I was there. And she did get some of that material into her hand. I got a hold of her and I put her in the back seat. When I did that, the president's body fell to its left into her lap. The right side of his head was up. I could see his eyes were fixed. I could see in the hole in the skull that there was no brain matter left in that whole section of the head. So I assumed it was a fatal wound. I turned and I gave a thumbs down to the follow-up car crew, and I screamed at the driver, "Get us to a hospital." The chief of police from Dallas got in front of us with the lead car, and he took us directly to Parkland Hospital.